Hi, Northbound. Welcome back to what I'm calling the short Northbound action studies. So, this is a continuation of a podcast, which was Climb the Hard Pass First. And on that podcast, one of the things I talked about was when you're going through the High Sierra of California, you are going to come to Forester Pass first and then Glen Pass shortly thereafter. And those are very hard passes, the hardest of the Sierra, arguably. And so, you knock those out and you go over those, and then everything else seems easier. And it's those moments that build courage. And so, these action studies, what I want to do with these is build upon that podcast and give you something to take that you can take action on, something that's practical. You can go back to your workplace or your ministry or even your home and say, okay, I'm going to do this today, or I'm going to do this month, or something like that. So, um, again, we're going to talk about the hard pass first, and let's just get into it. And so here's the agenda. We have main points, key takeaways, and the right path. What action are we going to take? And so for these action studies, it'll probably be the same like this each time. So, main points right off the bat: courageous leadership is intentional. And this picture you see here, this is her name is Al, and she was hiking with me and some other people as we went through the High Sierra of California. And this is her going over Forester Pass, which is a very hard pass, and it was especially hard in 2023, which was when we went over it because of all the snowfall. The snow had been pretty incredible that year, and so this pass was, I mean, we had to be very intentional about how we went about doing this section. We had to prepare. We had to go through different scenarios of what if this happens or that happens. And so, and it built a lot of confidence going over it for future passes. That is for sure. So let's get into the main points here. Leadership is not about completing tasks. It's navigating difficulty. And that's why I put this picture on here, because that is exactly what we had to do going over that pass and some other ones. Is you are just navigating difficulty. See, the trail is not a checklist. You don't get to go, okay, and then I'm going to get here and we're going to get past this section and check that off. No. In fact, it changes daily. In a high snow year like this, you or sometimes not even, like, all of a sudden you'll just have a snowstorm that'll take place up at that altitude. And so the conditions one day may not be the conditions the next day. And that's the same thing in your organization. What what you know today may completely change tomorrow. And so you got to lead through that. You're not just leading completing tasks. That's management. We're talking about leadership, and that is navigating through changes and through difficulty and difficult situations. So that's a main point. Main point number two is, if you avoid hard conversations, and we're talking about doing the hard pass first, right? Just knocking that out right off the bat, because that's gonna prepare you for the future passes. It's the same thing when you don't want to avoid hard conversations or hard decisions, because as you avoid things like that, it's just going to compound over time. It's going to actually be more difficult. And um, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that on the next slide too. And then momentum is psychological before it's operational. I wrote down a couple of notes on this because I think this is something that we need to address a little deeper here. And that is that momentum that happens before execution. It, like we said above, it's not about completing tasks. It's about getting through difficulty, um, which is going to require some planning, which is key. It's gonna also probably require desire and passion to move forward. You're going to want to go forward. You're going to want to accomplish that. You need to develop that, and it's going to take some momentum to get through those, to get over the hard pass, to get through those hard decisions, because it's going to be better if you do. And I highlight that because the experience after going over a hard pass and looking at God's creation is really amazing. And it's the same thing when you get through difficult periods at work, is seeing what the other side looks like. When you get through the hard stuff and your culture has improved and people are communicating better and they're getting along better and your organization is running smoother, you're looking and you're like, yes, this is where we want to be. This is awesome. We tackled the hard stuff and this is what and we've got something to show for it. And one of the biggest ones is just relationships. When relationships at work, when you have good relationships and a good culture, that is something to look at and go, man, this is awesome. This is an awesome place to work. And is beautiful. It's God's creation. And then another main point here is just addressing reality early builds trust and speed. And that is so important because we don't live in fairyland. In an organization, we're not dealing with fairyland and we don't want to operate in fairyland. We want to operate in reality. And sometimes reality, for lack of better words, can suck. And we need to address that. We got to address those hard things. And if you show the people you lead that you are ready to tackle those hard things and you're ready to address them and you want to fix them, that's going to build trust. And then when you do get there and you have solved the issue, whatever that is, now you can speed up because you don't have those issues in the way. So those are the main points for this small study. Let's go. Oh, here's a video I want to share with you. So this is going over Forrester, and I want to just show you just the difficulty and a little bit of the danger here as you look down this cliffside. So um, one one bad move there and you're going all the way down. It's not going to be good. That's real steep. It doesn't look quite as steep there, but I included that video because I think it kind of goes along with what we're talking about here. And that is that when you tackle something like this, that that's a dangerous section going over Forester Pass. And when you tackle that, man, the next pass is so easy. And I mean, after that, you're just like, yeah, I could do anything. And it's the same kind of stuff with leadership issues. I looked down this cliffside here when I went through that section and it scared me. And I truly did. I had fear here. Um, and after that, I didn't experience that on future passes. It was just easy peasy. So that's the point of this study, right? Let's see. Okay, another key takeaway. Avoidance creates increases in cost, stress, and complexity. Yeah, you don't want to avoid the hard things. When you avoid the hard things, they stack up. And a lot of times, hard stuff just gets harder. That's why the cost will increase. It's going to take more to fix it. There's stress the whole time that it's going on. Get through that. Let's get that stress off. Let's get that done and over with. Let's keep moving. And a lot of times when you let something just sit and the problem gets worse, it gets more complex too. And I know you all know that. So we're really wanting to get to the action. What can we do? So another key takeaway, hard conversations build capacity. This is another one that I have some notes here that I want to go over because I think we need to spend a couple of extra minutes here just kind of dialing down on this one. So hard conversations build capacity, and that is because they expand what you're able to carry the next time. It is building your brain. You know, we I think at one time there was the idea that you build your brain as a child and then it kind of stops. That is not necessarily true. You're going to be building highways in your brain for your entire life, and you're going to find better ways to think about things. And that is so true in leadership. You want to have hard conversations and you want to tackle the hard things so that you can build capacity for the next ones. So every difficult conversation you avoid is going to stay heavy on your mind and on your body. Every difficult conversation you face is going to make you stronger. So you don't just solve the issue, you're increasing your tolerance for conflict, clarity, and responsibility. So the next hard conversation is going to feel more doable because you've already proven you can handle that one. And so when we say that hard conversations build capacity, we're talking about judgment under pressure, we're talking about emotional resilience, clarity and trust, reducing long-term friction, and raising your confidence. Just like I mentioned, after this, my confidence was high. I could do anything. Um, all right. And in line with one of our main points is that teams are going to trust you when you confront reality. When you confront what's going on and you say, we can do it better, we can do it better, we can do a better job here, and I'm 100% in, your team's going to rally with you. They're going to see a leader who confronts what's going on, tackles it head on, and says, let's go. And that's going to be awesome. So that's the kind of leader you want to be. Um, yeah, confidence is built after action. It's not, confidence isn't built by, hey, maybe we could do this tomorrow, or, I've always really wished I could do that. That doesn't build your confidence. That's just wishing your life away. Go do it. Go do it. Go fix it. And it's going to build confidence. Take action. That's what this is all about. That's why we're doing action studies. We want to take action and build confidence. Courage creates clarity, trust, and long-term speed. 100%. We want to be courageous leaders. All right. So let's talk about the action steps, the right path. And here we are getting to the top of Forester Pass, which is over 13,000 feet. And we had gone through the snow for like a long time, like probably 10, 15 miles. We had been in snow, nothing but snow. And here we see the first pass. So we're up at the top, and believe it or not, it kind of starts to melt. The very tip top, you'll sometimes get to the trail in the high snow years up at the very top. So here we are finding the trail after many miles, and there's the right path for us. So that's why I included that picture. I gotta share with you why I'm including these pictures, because I spend a lot of time thinking, well, which picture is the right one for the study? I So I take a lot of pride in that. All right. Identify one leadership issue you've been avoiding. Yes, let's do that. That's action. Identify something, maybe this week or this month. Identify that issue that you've been avoiding and don't avoid it. Next, ask what hard conversation or decision needs to happen first and not later. All right. And then, wow, okay, this one is maybe the most important one. I want you to encourage someone on your team who is carrying a heavy load. We all know someone that we work with who's carrying the load. Someone who does a lot of work for the office, for the team, for the organization, for the company. Go encourage them and thank them. It goes a long ways. When you tackle the hardest pass first, everything else is doable. And you want to tackle the hardest passes with others. You want to go with them. That's what it's all about. The team is tackling it together. And then when you're done, everything is going to be doable for you and the team. And you'll get over the pass. And there is Forester Pass is at 13,200 feet. And I'm telling you, that was our view that morning. And I think we were all in tears as we realized we had made it past the cliff face and we're not going to die. And this is what we get to see. And we've got many more passes ahead of us. So, all right. Thanks for listening today. I encourage you to go listen to the podcast if you haven't already. If you ever want to reach out to me, you know how to do it. You can reach out right here on the community. But please reach out to me all the time, and also encourage everybody on here. That's what this is for. That's what this community is for, is to encourage each other in leadership, to build each other up. And anytime that you want to set up a time to meet one on one, you just let me know and we'll set that up. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody.